Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome back. It's great to see you again. We've got a lot to get into this evening. Please, before we begin, I want you to go to the like button, hit the like button, and also subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and also share this video with everyone that you know. This is a very, very important message that I want to share with you this evening. Please give me some hearts and likes so I can see who's with me this evening. We've got a lot to talk about. I'm going to get right into it, okay? This evening, I would like to address the lies, the propaganda, the slander against our great university, our great institution, Howard University. Folks, this is your good brother, Abdur-Rahman Muhammad, coming to you from the nation's capital, Emmy-nominated historian and writer, from the critically acclaimed, internationally acclaimed docuseries on Netflix entitled Who Killed Malcolm X. I would like to come to you this evening and share with you my thoughts on the controversy that is brewing at Howard University right now, the Blackburn Takeover, the takeover of the Blackburn Student Center there on the campus by the students, some of the students on the campus, and what that is all about. And I want to address the false narratives, the propaganda against the university that is being orchestrated by, unfortunately, and I'm just going to be point blank about it, that is being orchestrated by some of our own alumni for their own reasons that we're going to get into this evening, okay? This is all smoke and mirrors, all right? It's smoke and mirrors, and I'm going to explain that to you in a moment. First of all, I don't speak for the university. I can't speak for the university. I don't work for the university, and I can only speak for myself. I am only one of roughly 100,000 living alumni of Howard University. The overwhelming, the vast majority, overwhelming majority support this president, Dr. Wayne Frederick, the Board of Trustees, and its chairman, Dr. Lawrence Morse. That should be understood right off the top, okay? Because it's the loudest voices that get the media. It's the loudest voices that create all of the controversy. But the truth of the matter is, the university is doing better than it ever has. Under their leadership, they made a decision, and guess what? Most of the alumni support them and trust their decision. I want to go on the record right now that I certainly support our president, Dr. Wayne Frederick, and the chairman of the Board of Trustees, Dr. Lawrence Morse. So let me put that on the record right there. Before we get into the issues at hand, okay? Before we get into the subject matter, first of all, let me say this. Let me say this. As a Howard man, as a proud Howard man, as a person who made it a point to put Howard front and center in our documentary, Who Killed Malcolm X, because I'm very proud of being part of this great legacy of black excellence. I'm very proud of that. And I personally take deep umbrage to the attacks and the slanders that are now being waged against this university for reasons that I will get into in a second. I take deep umbrage to it. And I've also found the protests themselves to be quite troubling, to say the least. Whatever issue one may have with the university, whatever issue one may have with its president, with those who serve on the board of trustees, we should always remember that we are Howard men, we are Howard women, and we comport ourselves in a refined and dignified manner. And what I saw at these protests, what I saw in some of the videos of the protest, appalled me, sickened me, quite frankly. To see our president viciously attacked, slandered, the kind of language that was used to speak about Dr. Wayne Frederick, who is a son of Howard, and so is Dr. Morse, and so is 60% of the Board of Trustees of Howard University. These are men and women that we sat in the classroom with. These are men and women that we walked across the stage with. And now we have a contingent of alumni that want us to believe that these eminent sons and daughters of Howard are somehow now the enemy of the people, the enemy of the students, that they don't care about their wards, that they don't care about these young minds that have come to this campus. This is absurd. And the kind of language that I heard at these protests was absolutely disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. Rude, crude, uncivilized even. I will use that word, yes. I will use that word. Gully, ratchet, low class, gutter, to speak about Dr. Frederick and men like Dr. Morse and the other eminent personalities who serve on that board of trustees, that great board of trustees. Hey, I'm just telling the truth. We're all family tonight. We are all family. Many of you, I have known some of you some 40 years. And I hope after this talk tonight, we will remain friends. But I'm sorry. I cannot co-sign what is being done in the name of what you call shared governance. I can't co-sign it. And we're going to break that down in a second. But again, this language was sickening, and it was not up to the standard, the high standard of grace and dignity and class that we as Howard alum and Howard students, this is not our standard. It was absolutely the lowest of the low. I heard one young lady get on the mic and call Dr. Frederick out of his name. I don't even want to repeat, and I won't repeat, what I heard at this rally. And this was recorded on a tape. And it goes out to the public, and it goes out to the media, who are no friends of Howard University. Let's keep it real. Who would love to gentrify us and destroy us. Why would anyone who claims to love Howard University take our inner issues out to the media like that? This is the question that we have to ask. Called him out of his name. Dr. Wayne Frederick. And that's what he is. He's Dr. Wayne Frederick. He's not Freddie. He's not Fred. Okay? To you and to I, he is Dr. Wayne Frederick. This man is the best of what Howard has produced. And I'm going to stand by him and defend his honor and defend his good name and his service to this institution. He's a man who came to Washington, D.C. as a young, sickly child, 16 years old, from a poor island, Trinidad, suffering from sickle cell anemia, which he had hoped one day to find a cure for. That's why he came to Howard, 16 years old. And by the time he was 22 years old, he was a newly minted doctor. He had achieved the status of a medical doctor by the time he was 22 years old. The man holds 3 degrees from this institution. And he is the mentee of the great Dr. LaSalle D. LaFall. The best that we have. And whatever differences we may have with him and people like him, we must respect that excellence and that achievement and that very fine representation of the institution that we love it so dearly in our hearts. So let me start by saying that first, because the very same people who used this vile and disgraceful language speaking about him turn around in the same breath and talk about black excellence. They came to Howard to be part of a tradition of black excellence, using that gully, low-down language to talk about a man like Dr. Wayne Frederick and Dr. Morse and the Board of Trustees. Will someone say it? Will someone say it? Will someone stand up for the honor of these people? Dr. Morse, look at his resume. This man was summa cum laude from Howard University, Phi Beta Kappa. The man has a master's and PhD from Princeton, studied at the London School of Economics, then did postdoctoral work at Harvard. These are people that we should trust and respect. And if they make a decision, we should trust them. We should defer to them. Because why? They are the trustees. And in that word trustees is the word trust. What happened to the trust? Where is our trust? Is this back in the days when the Board of Trustees was mostly white and the university had a white president? Is this back in those days? It would sure seem so. The way you attack these eminent leaders. This is the question that I ask myself. Brothers and sisters that we went to class with. Brothers and sisters that we went to homecoming with. Brothers and sisters that we went to the ball game with. Studied all night trying to pass our exams. And now we treat them like they're the oppressors of students. Like they are the enemy of the community, enemy of the alumni. I can't buy that. I won't co-sign that. I don't accept that. And the things that we're going to talk about tonight kind of prove to me that their decision was right. Their decision was right. We'll talk about that. There's essentially two aspects to this protest. Two different aspects. Two different sets of grievances and also demands. One relates to the living conditions of the students. Okay? That's one. We could say the student concerns. The other relates to a decision that the Board of Trustees unanimously took this past June to change the structure of shared governance here at Howard University and to eliminate the affiliate trustees on the board, meaning trustees from the student body, trustees from the alumni association, and trustees from the faculty. The university unanimously voted these seats out of existence, and they presented their arguments. They simply said it wasn't working. It wasn't working. There's a better way to do it. There's a better way to have shared governance. Okay? But to tell you the truth, between these two issues, the living conditions of the students and the eradication of these seats on the board, it's really the eradication of the seats on the board that is the real issue. That is the real issue. The issue of the conditions of the students, while students have genuine concerns and issues, there was no need for it to be blown up into this crisis as it is today. There was no need for that. That, I'm arguing, was ginned up by a contingent of our own alumni, those who were deeply invested in those affiliate trustee seats, those who go back to the 60s and the 70s, in the 80s and the 90s, older alums. They are the ones behind this protest. That is what I'm arguing. Okay? Not that students don't have concerns, not that they don't have issues, but not to the point where we need another public protest, media spectacle, as if we can't handle our own issues amongst ourselves without taking it to the street. We have a group of alumni, unfortunately, that are perfectly okay with lighting the match and setting the whole thing on fire. Yeah, we do. We have alumni who will take a scorched earth approach to solving problems. If we can't have it our way, then damn it, burn the whole thing down. Yes. Yes, painful as it is for me to say that. We do. We have alumni that have been plotting this, that have been planning this, who couldn't wait to get these students back on campus so that they could gas them up and send them out to create this media firestorm. 2018, 3 years ago, we just had one of these things. And it's gotten to the point now where students believe that the way you solve problems is you take over a building. That's how you solve problems. You don't solve them in the boardroom. You don't solve them in the administration building. You don't solve them in your department or in your dorm. You solve them in the street. You take over a building and create a media spectacle and invite all malevolent eyes onto our affairs. That's how you handle it. It's been romanticized. It's been romanticized. Okay? This taking over a building thing, this thing has been romanticized now. This is the new way now. Right? Not discussion, not problem solving, not engagement, not dialogue. Take over a building, okay? And make it something romantic and put it on Twitter. We see students launching their political careers by taking over the Blackburn Center. This is what it's become. So now this will happen, every couple of years now? This is the way to go. This is what we're going to do. We have alumni who should know better. And again, I repeat, the overwhelming majority of the Howard University alumni, 100,000 living alumni, a small, minuscule fraction disagrees with the decision of the board. But they're the ones that have no problem invoking a protest, invoking the federal appropriation, putting that on the table, right, as some type of leverage when that should never even come out of your mouth. The federal appropriation that Howard receives by statute from Congress. They've even put that on the table to try to use that as leverage. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yes, students do have issues. We've just passed through a year of shutting the school down. All right. There may be some issues here or there with mold or mildew. We're finding mostly that it's mildew. Unfounded, incendiary claims were made that there's a black mold, dangerous, deadly black mold in all of the buildings of Howard. Well, they may not say all of the buildings, but that is the image, the picture that they want to lay out. That the whole campus from Burr Gym all the way down to the hospital, that each building is brimming with dangerous mold, black mold even. The lives of the students are in danger. Okay? This is what's being put out there. Hey, look, I can assure you, there are other universities, especially here in the District of Columbia, which was built on, a lot of water. Okay? I can assure you, there are other campuses. There are 8 universities in Washington, D.C. alone. Georgetown University, George Washington University, Trinity University, Catholic University, right? University of the District of Columbia, right? On and on and on. American University. You think they don't have a problem here or there in this building or that with a little bit of mold? After being shut down for an entire year? You don't think that they may have some issues here or there? But why at Howard? Here's the question. Why at Howard does this become, a huge scandal and media event? Why? Why does it result in the taking over of a building. You cannot tell me that our president, Dr. Frederick, you cannot tell me that those men and women on the board of trustees want our students in an unhealthy, dangerous environment. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me that. I will never believe that. Okay? We're products of this institution. And we look at these young people like we look at our own children. So that's a lie and that's a slander. There was no black mold. Okay? I will tell you what they found. They found some black mildew. Yeah. Covis, the management company for the university that manages all of the dorms, they hired a health inspector to come in and look at what they were calling black mold, dangerous black mold. You know what it turned out to be? Mildew. Yeah, mildew. Apparently, we have some students. This was mostly in the towers, by the way, which is ground zero for all of this. We have some students that don't know how to clean their shower properly. And the mildew caked up and it turned black. And they called it black mold. Okay? Now, when the health inspector comes in and he determines that it's not what people were saying it is, all right, who will stand there now and clear the university of that charge? I'm not saying there wasn't any mold. I'm not saying there weren't some issues here or there, okay? But what I'm saying is we have to be wise enough to see that a narrative is being spun together where these little maintenance issues are being stitched together to create a public spectacle to put pressure on the university to overturn the decision that they made in June to eliminate those seats on the board, those affiliate trustee positions. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. From the videos that I have been watching of the demonstrations and the little interview with our students, what I've seen is that whenever the university got a report of mold or something, that appeared could be possibly harmful, that they got on it right away. That these issues were addressed. Some of these stories are a month old. Okay? And the student leaders had a meeting with the president earlier this week, and he agreed to send in Covis, the management company, starting yesterday, Saturday, to go through every single room in every dormitory that we have and clean every single room spick and span. Okay? The president heard the students out in his office. Okay? One of the leaders was the president of HUSA, the Howard University Student Association. The other was the leader of a group called the Live Movement. This is some new organization, not really familiar with it. Okay? I think it just rose up. But okay, we've got two separate organizations. Actually, there's another contingent calling themselves the Howard University Young Democratic Socialists. Okay? So there's not even a unified leadership structure. Different groups saying different things. And it appears that almost every day the grievances change and the demands change. My view of it is that while there may be some issues here or there, that need to be taken care of. The university will take care of them. Dr. Frederick said that they will take care of them. They began yesterday to take care of them. And why couldn't it have just been that? Why did it turn into slander of the president, slander of the Board of Trustees, taking over a building, tweeting out information to the media? For what? For what purpose? I'll tell you what I know. And I'm speaking to the family. And I hope after this talk, I hope that we all remain friends. Right now, I'm taking a position against men and women that I have known for decades and have immense respect for. I want to be clear about that. And I want to remain friends with you until the day I die. But brothers and sisters, right is right and wrong is wrong. This past summer, I was invited to be on a Zoom call with other alumni from eras gone by, let's say. We were older alumni from the 80s and the 90s and maybe the early 2000s. Very few young people were on the Zoom call. Sometimes it went up to as many as 100 people. Okay? And these were alumni who were livid that the Board of Trustees and Dr. Frederick had decided to eliminate these affiliated trustees on the Board of Trustees. And when we're talking about affiliate trustees, we mean trustees that come from the student body, right? Undergraduate and graduate, there's two. From the faculty, which there are two, undergraduate and graduate, and also there are three alumni seats, okay? These seats were eliminated by unanimous vote, or at least a quorum, the quorum that was there. There were at least two board members who voted to eliminate their own seat, okay? And Dr. Morse came forward. He did a very beautiful video where he explained that this is not the best way to do it, okay? This is not the best way to have what is called shared governance, okay? If you listen to those who talk about shared governance, the ones who are fighting the university right now, the alumni who are fighting the university on this, they would have you believe that if you don't have these affiliate board members seated at the table, that there is no shared governance, that you have eradicated shared governance or stakeholder involvement in decisions, the decision-making process at the board table in the administration building. That's how they would argue it. But the truth of the matter is that somewhere in the neighborhood of 70% of private institutions like Howard University have no affiliate trustees. There are no seats like that. And they would never claim to not have shared governance. They would never accept that. They have a form of governance that involves all the stakeholders in the institution. There's more than one way to have shared governance. And that's what Dr. Morse said in his video. We will be unveiling, we will be unveiling a new form of shared governance that does not involve these seats. This is an experiment that has not worked. Essentially, that's exactly what he said. It hasn't worked. It has not worked. And the proof, do you want proof that it hasn't worked? Let's take the same proof that these alumni cite as their own evidence. The long series of protests throughout the years. They mentioned one in 74. We could mention one in 83 where they took over the A building, 89, 2018, and even now. Well, now those positions are gone. But up to 2018, the university had these affiliate trustees. Right? They had these stakeholders at the table with a vote, and it did not prevent these protests. It did not prevent buildings from being taken over. Okay? It does not work. There are conflicts of interest in these seats. For example, one of the demands that we saw of this present protest, students, this was a demand that they cleaned up and they kind of cast it off once it became clear how ridiculous it was. This was one of their demands. They wanted a 40% cut in tuition, right? And they wanted to freeze that for 20 years. 40% cut in tuition starting now, and they wanted to freeze it for 40 years. Pardon me, 20 years. 20 years. 2041. Okay? What are you going to do with that? Can you just imagine having someone on the board who has a vote taking a position like that? Okay? It's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. Right? You can't run a university that way. You can't. And so they have a better way. And they want us to give them a chance. They want to see, if what is considered the best practices now in university governance, they want us to trust them. Again, it was voted unanimously. Brothers and sisters, either we trust our leaders or we don't. We trust our leaders or we don't. Going back to these Zoom calls, one of the things that I noticed, and there were two things that made me very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. One was just how easy it was for someone to suggest that this move of the board could have ramifications for our federal appropriation. I said, whoa, what are we talking about here? Federal appropriation. How do we even let that fly off our lips? Federal appropriation? Oh, no. I can't go there. I can't go there with you. In other words, you're prepared. You're prepared to invoke the federal appropriation to mess with that, to tamper with that in order to get your way. I can't go there with you. Okay? I can't go there. Scorched earth. No, I can't go there. I'm sorry. I would never go there. And the second thing that bothered me about these Zoom calls was the intense, very personal hatred and animosity that so many of the people on this call had for President Frederick. I found that very, very problematic, very disturbing. The lack of trust, the animosity, deep ill will toward this great son of Howard. Okay? I get it. I understand where some of it comes from. Okay? I understand he's not an American born black. He has an accent. He thinks he's better than somebody. Okay? That's some of it. Stylistically, right? When he first took office, it was off-putting to a lot of people. Okay? I agree. You know what? I'm guilty there too. I'm guilty there. It is well known, it's well known that my own my own biases, my own prejudices or what have you. I was, judging the man based on his style and his presentation, his manner of speaking, and the fact that he wasn't born here, yeah, everyone knows that. Okay, I had a problem with it too. But I'll tell you this. We have been very fortunate to have Dr. Wayne Frederick as our president at this critical hour. What a blessing it has been in the hour of COVID to have a skilled medical doctor, a surgeon, to be the president of Howard University. Okay? I have seen this man. He has won me over. Because I've watched him. And I'm fair. I'm a fair man. Okay? I'm very fair. This man has had to deal with the destruction through a terrible storm and the explosion of the infrastructure several years ago, okay, where 2 of the 3 furnaces literally blew up as the result of freezing over the winter, right? We all remember that, okay? Shut down Douglas, shut down the annex, okay? Steam coming out of the ground. We all remember that. We all felt very bad about that, right? We all felt terrible about that. He had to handle that. Okay? In his new presidency, he had to handle that. Okay? And I watched him do that. I watched him raise almost $500 million, right, to restore this university not back to its former glory, to make it greater than its former glory, to bring Douglas Hall back greater than what it was before the infrastructure explosion. I've seen him do this. I've seen him work tirelessly to solve the problem at the hospital, which was bleeding some years $50 million a year. It went up and down. This year it could be $26 million. Next year we might have a good year. We might only be a $15 million loss. But every single year the hospital was a huge L. that the university was taking. I saw him solve that problem and then go further and negotiate the construction of a new hospital. Yes, yes. And he's one cool character. He's one cool character. We have to keep in mind. We have to keep in mind that Dr. Frederick was mentored by Dr. LaFall. And he taught Dr. Frederick how to be cool. When you're a surgeon, Dr. Frederick is a surgeon. When you're a surgeon, you have to be one cool character. Okay? You have to maintain your equanimity no matter what's going on. Dr. Frederick said in medical school, one of my mentors, the legendary surgeon, Dr. LaSalle D. LaFall Jr., taught us the importance of, quote, equanimity under duress. The ability to look calmly at the larger picture and not rush to judgment even when you feel pressured to do so. Even when you feel pressured to do so. The students are complaining. One of their grievances, he makes over $1 million a year. Dr. Frederick makes about $1.3 million a year. You know what I say? He should make more. He should make more. I wouldn't take that job for $1.3 million. Okay? As far as I'm concerned, he's underpaid. Dr. Frederick is a president of a school that has a hospital, a medical school, a dental school, a law school, a school of divinity, a school of social work, a school of liberal arts, a school of engineering, school of architecture, school of fine arts. Right? He has to protect the accreditation of all of these individual schools, of I don't know how many majors, and he has to raise money. He has to go out, right, and develop the university. I wouldn't do it for $1.3 million. If he was in the private sector, he would be paid exponentially more than what he's paid. But he's ours. He's one of us. Okay? Yeah, I know he speaks a little differently. Okay? He's a Trini. All right? We have a great tradition coming out of Trinidad. The great Dr. Eric Williams, okay, who wrote Capitalism and Slavery. Howard professor who went on to become the president of Trinidad. And keep this in mind, Dr. Frederick does all of this while he yet suffers from sickle cell anemia. He has never done anything to disgrace us. He's a family man. Yes, I'm riding with him. I'm riding with him because he's done a good job. He's done a good job. You wait till they open Douglas Hall again. He's restored it to its former glory, to what it used to be before they chopped it all up. Okay? The students claim that he sold Meridian. He sold all the housing. He sold Carver Hall. Now there's no place for the students to live. Let me tell you something, students. Let me tell our students this. The housing situation at Howard University has never been better. It has never been better. This is one of the demands that I saw. They said they wanted guaranteed housing for every student 21 and under. So from freshman year to senior year, they want guaranteed housing. That has never been the case. That has never been the case where students were guaranteed housing in the junior and senior year. Okay? They say they want to meet with the president, that he could lay out a housing policy. The university has a housing policy. It guarantees housing for freshmen and sophomores. Okay? It has one of the highest housing capacities of any university in the city. Okay? Look, we're talking about smoke and mirrors here. There's no there. Okay? There's no there. I'm going to argue that the students are being manipulated because they're young and they're energetic, and there's a high concentration of freshmen here at Howard this year. Okay? There's an extraordinarily high number of freshmen. I've noticed that so many of these protesters are freshmen. Okay? And why is that significant? I'll tell you why. Because there's no way that a young person coming from out of town, step foot on the campus, can have that amount of hatred, vitriol, and animus towards Dr. Frederick and the Board of Trustees unless there's some alumni who is feeding them that. That there are grown folk in the background who are poisoning their minds against this man, against the Board of Trustees, against the administration, and creating distrust and ill will with our administration. This year, Howard University accepted 3,000 freshmen. Okay? Normally, maybe 29,000 students would apply for only 2,300 seats. Imagine that. I saw the students say, "We're the reason why you're here. We're the students. We're the reason why you're here." Well, you know, you're here because we represent black excellence. You're here because of the phenomenal track record that this university has in producing greatness, in providing intellectual leadership to the world, artistic leadership to the world, political leadership to the world. Right? That's why you're here. Moral leadership to the world. That's why you're here. Okay? So you're not doing us a favor by being here. 29,000 students apply and only 2,300 are accepted. Pardon me. There are only 2,300 seats. The university always accepts more than 2,300 because students choose to go to other schools, right? And you still have to fill those 2,300 seats. So it always accepts more than 2,300. So it will accept 3,000, but you know, some will go to other schools, and then you'll seat to 2,300. It just so happens that this year, all 3,000 decided to attend Howard University. Okay, but what that means is you have young minds who can be manipulated, and it's a small number involved in this protest. This is not a campus-wide protest. Okay? This is not some broad-based movement. No, it's not. It's a small but loud group that is being manipulated by a group of alumni who hate the president, who hate the board, who claim that imminent destruction is right around the corner because these affiliate seats were eradicated. That another form of shared governance is now being implemented, and they won't accept that. So what will they do? They get into the heads of the students. Okay, create a scene. Who do you think's buying all these tents, these generators, right? All that, this paraphernalia that they have outside? Where's it coming from? It's coming from these alums. And to me, that is destructive. It's doing irreparable damage to our reputation. Think about that. It's doing irreparable damage to our reputation, and they don't care. They don't care. They don't want to handle it the way all other universities handle it. No. They want to, they just want, whenever they don't get their way, take over a building. Tell the students, you know, the best way to get this handled is they're not going to listen to you. Frederick's not going to listen to you. That man's not going to listen to you. Y'all need to do what we did in 68. Y'all need to do what we did in 74. Y'all need to do what we did in 83. Y'all need to do what we did in 89. Y'all need to do what we did in 2018. Go take over a building. That's where we're at. Howard University family, is that where we're at? I'm asking you. I'm asking you. So, in conclusion, let me just say this again. There are many different ways that a university can have shared governance. Our Board of Trustees has decided that the way we have done it for, you want to say 50 years, if you want to take the alumni affiliates, they go back to 1926. However long, it hasn't worked. It doesn't work well. We've shown that, right? It hasn't been able to prevent these protests. There are any number of conflicts of interest in these seats. In other words, does a student owe his loyalty to his student constituency, or does he owe a fiduciary responsibility to the board? Okay? This really wasn't thought out that well in 68, in 70, when they, when they created these trustees out of the unrest and the strife of the 60s. It wasn't thought through very well. And I'm convinced that the board got it right. I stand with President Frederick. I stand with the board. I ask our students, who I love and support, and I support the students, okay? And these problems will get handled. At the same time, you have to do your part as well. You have to do your part as well, okay? Some of these problems in the dorm, are your problems too, okay? Like the mildew, like the dust. You have to clean the rooms, okay? You're away from home now, guys, young ladies, all right? You have to do your part too. And we love you. We love this institution. And when we do this, when we put on this spectacle every couple of years, it makes us look like a clown show, man. It's not dignified. It's not the way you do things. I'm prepared to give the board the benefit of the doubt. I'm prepared to give President Frederick the benefit of the doubt. Okay. I might as well share this with you. Personal story. So you know where I'm coming from. It's kind of known in certain circles that I had in 2015, because I am an old activist, you saw that in Who Killed Malcolm X, okay? I had bought into one of these narratives, okay? The narrative now, in case you're wondering, the narrative now is the entire campus is brimming with mold and dangerous, dangerous dust and all of this, right? That's the narrative now. Back then, there was a story about a student who had to be put out of the dormitory. Okay, he was doing something that broke the rules, to say the least. Okay, I won't go into it in detail, but he had to be put out. So a narrative was spun that went like this. You know, the university is so cold-blooded that this haughty West Indian president, who doesn't really like African Americans anyway, all right, that he put a student out in the street, and the media picked up on this, and they called it homeless at Howard. And they showed some pitiful kid, you know, sleeping on his suitcase or whatever on the park bench, because this mean president, who didn't care about his own students, put him out of the dorm and made him homeless. Okay? And one more thing about this homeless thing, because the students said, oh, students are sleeping in cars. They've got nowhere to live. And then when you drill down on it, you find out that what's really going on is you have students that don't want to obey the policies, the security policies, the sign-in policies for guests in the dorm. So they got either put out of the dorm, or they, would rather sleep in their car than put up with having to follow rules. All right. Anyway, homeless at Howard. Here's this poor kid. He's sleeping on the side. He's sleeping on the bench on the sidewalk because this mean old president put him out. I'm watching this on television, and I'm telling you, I'm livid. Okay? I was on fire. Look at him. He doesn't even care about he doesn't care about these students. Look at the way he talks about these students. He's just one of those West Indian, you know what I mean? I'm keeping it real. I'm keeping it real. And I tweeted some things I went to Twitter and I tweeted some things that were harmful and that were unfair and caused the president, and his family a great amount of distress. Okay? When I found out the truth of the matter and the activities that this young man was involved in, he absolutely should have been put out. He absolutely should be put, and other people in the dormitory told me he should have been put out. Okay? And so I was wrong. I was wrong. So I made it a point to make sure that I apologized to President Frederick. Okay? It was one summer. President Frederick was coming out of a program in Blackburn Center. It was a program with the vice president. Had to do with, I think, cancer treatments or something like that. And I knew the president would be there. So I stood outside and I waited for him to come out. I said, I know he'll come out. And he did come out. And I walked up to him and I said, Dr. Frederick, my name is Abdur-Rahman Muhammad. He said, yes, 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 I know who you are, sir. I know who you are. You know, that's how you talk. I know who you are, sir. I know who you are. And I told him, I said, sir, I just want you to know that, you know, I was wrong for that tweet. That was unjust and it was wrong. And I like to apologize for whatever distress it may have caused you and your family. You know that, and I hope that you'd be gracious enough to accept my apology. And you know what he told me? He said, sir, I want you to know that I am a Christian. I am a Christian and I am a forgiving man. That's what the president told me. Okay? That's what he told me. He said that I hold, you know, no ill will, you know, and, you know, I said, thank you, sir. Shook his hand. And guess what? He totally changed the subject and he said, you know what? I just met, this is what he said to me. I just had a conversation with a descendant of our first graduate, James T. Wormley. Our first graduate was James T. Wormley, who was the son of James T. Wormley, the owner of the Wormley Hotel. That was our first graduate. Okay. Dr. Frederick, coming out of this program with the vice president, had met, you know, the great grandson of our first graduate, you know, and he could talk about it with great fluency. And he knows the history of this university. I said, really? And then I told him, yeah, well, you know, I found the family of our first female graduate, who was, by the way, a white girl, one of the daughters of one of our founders. Her name was Matilda Adams Nichols, daughter of one of the founders, Danforth Bliss Nichols. Okay. And we were just chatting it up. And all of the animosity, all of the, you know, whatever bad feelings I may have had for him, you know, evaporated in an instant. Two brothers from Howard, two sons of Howard, chopping it up. You know, no Mr. Big President. Okay, just two lovers of our history, lovers of our legacy. All right. That's the Wayne Frederick that I know. All right. So I leave you with that story to say this. We can prejudge people. We can be suspicious of people. Right. We can attribute to them malicious or malevolent motives. But at the end of the day, you know, that's wrong. That's wrong. I say to the students, give the university the benefit of the doubt. Okay? Give the university the benefit of the doubt. And I assure you, they will sort it out. They will make sure that you're comfortable. They will make sure that you're safe. They will make sure that you have everything that you need, physically, spiritually, and mentally, to be successful here at Howard University. I know that. I know these people. Okay? And they're Howard folks. Okay? When we talk about our issues, when we raise our concerns, we should do it with dignity and respect and class. Okay? Leave the gutter language alone. Let us treat one another with respect. Let's protect one another's honor and good name, even when we disagree with one another. Some of my alumni friends, you're going to disagree with me tonight. That's fine, but I hope we can still remain friends. You know, we can disagree without being disagreeable. With that, let's sort this thing out. Let's bring this protest to a close. There really is no issue there. The president said he's going to have a town hall meet. The Board of Trustees will have the town hall meeting on the 25th. The president will meet with the student leaders. Okay? It's going to be sorted out. Let's pack these tents up. Let's get back to class. Okay, let's make this institution even greater. Let's make our mark on the world. Give the university a chance. Let's stop this. The president and the board of trustees are not going to overturn the decision. They've made their decision. All right. And I stand with them. The overwhelming majority of the alumni stand with them. And, unfortunately, we just have to live with the fact that we do have some alumni who will take this scorched earth approach to things. But it's not beneficial. It's not good. And I wish that they would, reconsider their approach. Okay, let's give this new model of governance a chance. And, nothing stays the same. There's nothing that stays the same. 50, 60 years, nothing stays the same. Okay, we've got to give it a chance. So with that, I'm going to bring it to a close. Hey, guys, if you all support messages like this, if you appreciate what we had to say tonight, you are free and you are welcome to show your support in the description box. You can hit the Venmo or hit the CashApp. Okay, send your brother a little something, and because every little bit helps, and it shows me that you appreciate this kind of honest and frank discussion. All right. With that, I wish everyone the best. I wish the students the best. I wish my president, Frederick, the best. I wish Dr. Morse the best. I wish the wonderful men and women who serve on our board of trustees the best. And I wish our very fine and venerable institution the best. Everybody, I hope you have a good night. And I hope I haven't offended anyone. Let us all, let's walk hand in hand together. Howard, Bison forever. Hey, man, have a good night. I'll see you next time.